Hello, everybody. We are here with Avvocato Jure Sanguinis in order to discuss some very relevant issues pertaining to Italian citizenship applicants. And specifically today, we will address an issue which is very frequently proposed to us, which is there are Italian citizenship applicants all over the world who cannot find an available slot to acquire citizenship at the Italian consulates, which are the entities competent in case you reside abroad and you want to acquire Italian citizenship, or you want your son or daughter to acquire the Italian citizenship. Am I wrong, Giulia? Are they the competent ones via the administrative way, of course?
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for invitation and for your question. Of course, this is a big issue. I think, in my opinion, I can say that this is a big issue all over the world, and it's very difficult in some cases, in some consulate, to obtain an appointment. How it functions? We can say that usually the embassy or the consulate open some slots on a daily basis, on week basis, something like that, through system, through online platform, for example, Prenotami method, or other times they decide to delegate the system of appointment to some agencies. For what the problem is that is the embassy that decide how many slots or how many appointment people can have, or agency can give to applicants. So it's very highly possible that people can't find an open slot for weeks, for months, or they find a slot only very far in the future. And it can be a problem if we want to open and start the proceeding.
Okay.
Since this moment, it's very important to say that for the administrative proceeding open in the moment in which I try, or in the moment in which I fix the appointment. So the administrative proceeding doesn't start when the appointment is given, or in the date of the appointment. This is very important because, as I said, sometimes this appointment is fixed after 1 month, after months, or in some cases also after 1 year.
Oh yeah, a very long time. So this is a very felt issue. As you said, we got straight to the point, no fluff, because this is our style. I mean, so we will briefly introduce ourselves, even though I know the audience wants to know what this is about, but we'll very fast introduce ourselves. So I am Davide Di Monaco, and I'm the owner of MultiLex, so Rome-based agency helping individuals and companies navigate the Italian bureaucracy intricacies. While Avvocato Jure Sanguinis is a lawyer specialized inter alia in citizenship, appeals and immigration laws. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Giulia. And she's part of the Antartide law firm with which we partner for Italian citizenship issues. Should we add something to this presentation, Giulia? I don't know whether I
Thank you very much. It's perfect.
Okay, thank you. So I prepared actually a list of questions to you, because we are addressing specifically the legal remedies in case you cannot, of course, go through the administrative proceedings, as you said. So through the consulate, if you reside abroad and you want to acquire citizenship abroad, so you go through the consulate because they are the consulates are the competent Italian entity to handle this procedure via the administrative way, of course. So one of the most frequent questions we are asked is, how long should I wait before turning to a judge? Meaning, okay, I want to book a slot, book an appointment with the consulate because I want to give them the documents, because, you know, I gather the documents, I have everything's ready. I just need to give the documents to the consulate. How long do you think should I wait before even considering turning to a judge, so availing myself of a lawyer?
So as you probably know, the administrative procedure has a time up, and after this period of time, the administrative procedure should be concluded with a decision that can be positive or negative decision. In the case of citizenship for Jure Sanguinis, so because a person has an ancestor, an Italian ancestor, should be concluded in the time of 3 years after the request. So it's very important to show, in case you decide to go to the judge or to the consulate, to stress the consulate to conclude the proceeding, is to show when the proceeding was open. From this point of view, of course, if I obtain an appointment that is after 3 or 4 weeks after the date in which I ask for the appointment, no problem. But in case I can't find an appointment, I can't give the documentation to the consulate because they don't open the door, or in case the appointment is scheduled after months or after years, the date in which I try to fix the appointment. In that case, I think it's very important to know that these 3 years should be calculated from the date in which I fix the appointment, or the date in which I send an email in order to obtain the appointment.
So yeah, the email should be a certified email. So
yes,
a PEC, PEC, a PEC that you sent.
Yes, I think that it's very important to know that the tribunal, the civil tribunal in Rome, since some years, decided to open the possibility to present the appeal, or to decide regarding the Italian citizenship, or also for people that didn't succeed in order to present their Italian request to the consulate, because the waiting list was too long, and was proven by the waiting list that the time will be up to 3 years. So this is another strategy, that if you have evidence that the consulate will never decide, or will never assess your Italian citizenship in the time of 3 years, this could be an option.
What is a piece of evidence you can collect to prove that the waiting list is too long? For example, in the website.
Yes, it depends on the attitude of the consulate, because in the past, I mean some years ago, the Italian consulate in São Paulo, for example, published the waiting list, and you could check the date of the years in which the request was issued, and so you can calculate in which year your request will be assessed. And if you can show that your request will be assessed in 4 years, in 5 years, then it's possible that the judge will open for you the possibility to present the case.
Okay. And I have a list of questions, but I just on the go. I have further questions as follow up. What is in your experience, what is the chance when there is a huge waiting list that your appeal would be accepted? I'm not talking about the merits. I'm not talking about, the contents of the appeal. I'm talking about the fact that the judge wouldn't say, okay, no, I cannot accept this appeal from a procedural standpoint, because you should have first asked the consulate. So you don't have the right to turn to the court. Is that this possibility that the court will say just, you cannot turn to me, you should have to go to the consulate. You should have gone to the consulate.
During the past years, the tribunal has always gave this possibility to present immediately the appeal in the tribunal when, of course, or the consulate answer directly to you telling that your request will be decided after 3 years, or because the consulate publish the list.
The list.
Another possibility is that you decide to go directly to the judge because you can't fix an appointment, so you can't find any available slot. In that case, I think it's safer if you ask to the judge only to condemned the consulate to give you an appointment so you can start the proceeding instead of assess your request of citizenship. But for example, in that case, usually the consulate speed up the proceeding and your request will put at in the top list of the
You're telling me if I go to the judge, I just ask him, look, there is no slots, no available slots, so it's too late. Can you just force the consulate to give me an earlier appointment?
We can say that I can force by law the consulate to give you an appointment as soon as it's possible. Then I can use the date of the appeal to say that I'm waiting the appointment since that day. So you don't need to count again 3 years after I get the appointment. And from my experience, I can say that then as soon as I get the appointment, it's more possible that the consulate will decide and assess your citizenship request faster than in other cases.
Okay. And why is that? Are they afraid that they go against the judge? Why is that?
Maybe because the judge put the light on your request case, and then the consulate want to speed it up with your request. But it's something that they can change just from my experience.
Okay. And does it happen that the judge tells the consulate, okay, speed it up, and they don't? Has it happened that they don't speed it up?
The judge can only order the consulate to fix the appointment. Then, if the embassy decide to speed it up with your request, it's something that decided the consulate. The consulate is obliged to conclude the administrative proceeding in 3 years. After the first date in which I ask for the appointment.
For the appointment. Okay. That's, absolutely. That's quite clear. So, I'm just reviewing the questions I had prepared. There is some people, applicants, they think, okay, now I turn to the judge. I turn to a lawyer for him or her to turn to a judge to defend my rights, and then somebody asks us, okay, but how long will it take? Because Italian legal proceedings are not famous for being fast, so they need to balance the two, two possibilities. So to weighing the two possibilities. Okay, I either wait for the consulate to give me an appointment, or I turn to a judge which is faster?
Of course, if you ask Italian citizenship for mail line and you need to go by law to consulate, of course, you have to go to consulate. But in case you can't fix the appointment, or the appointment is after 3 years, or you have the evidence that the proceeding lasts more than 3 years, you can go directly to the tribunal. As you probably know, the competent tribunal is the tribunal where your ascendant, so your Italian ancestor born. So it can be in one of the number of tribunal in Italy. For example, how a proceeding lasts depends enormously regarding the different territorial tribunal. This is an Italian citizenship proceeding can last from 1 year to 3 years at maximum, in my experience.
Okay, so before when you need to assess the possibility of filing a lawsuit, you also suggest the client whether it is convenient for him or her to file this lawsuit. For example, let's say that they can have an appointment in 2 years, and the court they are turning to, or they should turn to, is the one that's lowest in Italy. So you just tell them, look, this court is super slow, so maybe you should wait for the appointment, because this could be the case.
Yes, in that case, of course, I will suggest to wait for 1 year, so the 3 years are already spent, and I can go directly to the court. Of course, you need to check what is convenient. You need to write to the embassy, telling the embassy that the time has
elapsed.
Yes, has collapsed. So the consulate should issue a decision, and then if the tribunal is one of the tribunal that is the slowest, maybe you decide not to appeal. Usually we present only cases that have a high possibility to be won, and cases that are convenient for the person. Because in this moment there are a lot of cases in front of Italian tribunal regarding Italian citizenship. So we need that all the cases presented have a high possibility of successful.
Oh, lovely. Of course, we will address specific cases in other videos. So now we are focusing only on the possibility of turning to the judge, so bypassing the consulate, in case the consulate wouldn't give you the time slots, the slots for the appointment. So this is just a tiny slice of the big pie of cases that can be that there are all over the world with Italian descendants. So yeah, with this series of videos, we are trying to focus on specific cases, so that it is quite likely that you, if you're watching us, keep on following us, the MultiLex channel, because we will be probably addressing your case as well. Probably, very likely. So, okay, let's say that I want to turn to you as a lawyer, okay, to win the case. What do I need to do? Do I need to be present? Do I need to be there? Do I need to be, for example, at the court of Sassari in Sardinia? I mean, I would go to Sardinia, to the seaside, but let's say that I'm in the US and I want to give you, by power of attorney, I want to give you the power to represent me in court. Okay, because my ancestor, he was born in Sassari. So,
no, of course, all the proceeding can be followed on distance. I mean, you can collect all the documentation I need, or a lawyer need to present the case. You will sign a power of attorney in front of the notary, that is a person who is competent for the major part of the countries around the world for assess your identity in order to present the case, so to give the power to a lawyer to represent you in the tribunal. And the lawyer can go alone in front of the judge in order to discuss your case. Of course, since the fact that the case involves your situation, if you wish, you can be present in front of the judge with the lawyer. By your choice.
Yeah, it's just by choice. You don't have to be present. So we discussed court jurisdiction. So we discussed that the competent court is the one where your ancestor was born, and that is quite clear. We also discussed the success rates. I mean, you stated very clearly that you usually suggest to go on only if there is a high chance of success, because there are so many proceedings, legal proceedings now involving the citizenship, also based on the fact that the recent Italian law on citizenship changed a lot. And we have seen that the Constitutional Court issued a decision and nothing changed. So the new law, which is very bad for whoever wants to become Italian, was not cancelled. So there's still the new law, the 2025 new regulations. And so it is a bit harder, sometimes impossible to become Italian. So you also need to assess that, because of course, correct me if I'm wrong, even if you turn to a judge, you still need to look at the laws, even though there is some leeway, because some judges maybe interpret it in a different way. So they could be also creative, a bit creative. And maybe even if you maybe don't have the right to become Italian, you could get away with it. But these are very specific cases, right? I mean, there is just a tiny percentage of cases that maybe you accept, which can be a bit creative, and when you need to turn to a judge for a different interpretation of the law. Am I stating? I mean, no,
it's very. I mean, of course, it depends on the request that coming from the client and the decision that the lawyer take with the client, because of course depends on the reason why a person wants the Italian citizenship and how many risks they want to have in order to try to have another interpretation of the law. In fact, it's very important to understand that the previous law was a law that was a very ancient law, and for Italian people was normal that you have no limit of Italian ancestor that can give you the Italian citizenship. It's just some months that we have this new law. So a lot of different interpretation of laws and a lot of different cases can be presented, and we have no previous decision of the judge. Then we have a number of judges in all over the part of Italy. For this reason, it's very important from my point of view, an evaluation case by case, and in order to understand how many chances we have to win and how many risks we decide to assume in order to arrive at the end of the case.
We will discuss also the in a future video, we'll discuss also the case of, for example, of naturalization of the ancestor. And that's very interesting. That's super interesting. Naturalization by marriage, naturalization because he or she asked to naturalize. So if she or he asked to become a foreign citizen. Yeah, that's very interesting. We will address that because, I mean, turning to a judge could be the only way you can go about it in these specific cases. So there is still hope for somebody whose ancestor naturalized or married. If you were as a woman, you married a foreign citizen, so maybe you lost, in some cases you lost the citizenship, right? But we will address that in a different video. And yeah, there are so many cases like that. So what would be, and we are getting to the end, what would be your professional recommendation for people, applicants who have, I don't know, who have to wait for some months, till some months? How should they go about it?
The most important things in all cases in which we try to have a relation with the Italian public administration is to collect all the evidence of our attempt in order to obtain an appointment, for example, and to take the screenshot of your video when you try to attempt to have an appointment because there are no slots available, to register, for example, the calls that you are trying because you are trying to obtain an appointment, and of course to collect all the receive all the paper that are given by the public administration, because in that case we can show that you are waiting for more than 3 years, and we can go directly to the judge, so you can not waste your time waiting an answer from the consulate.
Lovely. And I assume that when somebody turns to you, then you gives the suggestion. So maybe there's some time where you do this preliminary activity in order to establish the evidence, and with the evidence then you go to the court, and so your case is stronger, of course.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so as you've seen, we have gone straight to the point, no fluff, no visual effects. I'm against visual effects, mainly when you have to discuss such niche topics, because these topics are so specific, so peculiar. So I told Julia, let's go straight to the point. Let's dive in. We just want to give answers. We hope to have given you some, tools now to interact with the consulates. So in case, however, you need professional advice, you can contact MultiLex at info@multilex.it. We also collect the documents that you need for the administrative or the legal action. For administrative way or the legal action. So we will be in another video, in a series of videos where we'll discuss specific topics, very interesting topics, I promise. And so I thank Julia from Studio Antarctica, and I hope to see you soon with a new video.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.